Hi, second graders. This week, well, actually for the next 4 or 5 weeks, we're in the process of discussing the scientific method or the scientific process. In the classroom, as you well know, there are the scientific process cycle chart. And for parents, I want you to know that some of your student or your children will be coming home and excited about the different experiments that we've been doing, and they may want to do some of the experiments with you. So what I would like you to do is talk to them about some of the process that it entails. So the first one would be, what do you think, that we're going to be talking about the question of the scientific process. So we have a question once we have our materials, and that question is, what do you want to know, or what happens if? So there's the question. So when you have all your materials and you're talking about that, you're going to pose this question to your child. And then you go to the next step, which is the hypothesis. And that is, what do you think is the answer to your question here? And this is where we talk about the, in my opinion, I think, or I believe statements. And they're going to figure out a hypothesis. They're going to come up with a hypothesis based upon the question that they've come up with. And then once they have discovered what their hypothesis is and they've written it down, or even just discussed it with you, then you're going to complete the experiment, and then they're going to take notice as to what happened. What did they see? What did they notice? Those are some of the questions that you could ask them about actually the question itself. And then they're going to come over here, and it says they're going to come back to this hypothesis in just a moment. But the results are going to be, I found the results to show that, and then they're going to fill in that blank. And this is the way we talk with our students regarding this process with these sentence frames. So they're filling in the blank with these scientific words, and we want them to think like scientists and what they've learned that this process has created. So they're gone through the observation, they've concluded with their results, and they're finding out if their hypothesis is true or not. So what was your hypothesis, and was it correct? Why or why not? And from their question, the hypothesis, what they believe, may or may not be true with what the materials you had in the experiment. So then that's a great point of discussion as well. You can discuss it with them and find out, yes, it was true or it wasn't, and possibly you could do the experiment again, maybe using one other variable to see if the hypothesis was correct or not. And then then this is where you could talk with your child about what they think the whole process means, and if your whatever materials you're using, whatever experiment you're doing, what do you think that means? So you're sharing that information out. And then you could continue doing that whole process again, maybe by changing just one variable, which would be really cool. And so we are in the process of, I wanted to share with you this, we're doing one more experiment tomorrow, and we're going to be doing that experiment with Mrs. Ganay. And we have formed a question and a hypothesis, and we're having 96 eggs, and Mrs. Ganay is going to walk on those eggs, and our students have concluded that she will not break any eggs. So the hypothesis is, they think, in their opinion, that Mrs. Ganay will, as she's walking on the eggs, she will not break any eggs. We haven't done that experiment yet, but our next video clip will show Mrs. Ganay and if our hypothesis is really true, because we're going to check the results when she finishes walking on those eggs. So we're looking forward to seeing you and listening to the next video tomorrow. Thank you.